Hey, what's good? SNA, we're going to see David up in his man cave. Come with me. David!
Hi, Koshi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Come in, please.
Thank you. Here we go. It's the beautiful man cave.
Yeah, for my music room, I prefer to play. The Joy is a modern speaker.
Yes.
And a vintage speaker. To me, modern it gives much more sound, much more clean, much more dynamic.
Yes.
Sound very clinical, very clean. And
so what's this one?
This is called Avalon.
Avalon.
Audio Lab, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very dynamic, very clean. So I had a vintage,
yes,
classic, many years, and a modern speaker.
Right.
I like to play everything.
Sure.
Yeah. With that sort of thing, it requires 200-300 watt.
Okay.
Amplifier, huge amplifier.
Yes.
Let's say this speaker about, let's say I don't know, estimate, okay?
Yeah.
Approximately about 50 to 60 kilo.
Right.
And I requested the Halco here.
Halco, yeah.
One of the very high-end amplifier in Australia.
Yes.
You probably heard about it.
Yes.
And that was 50 kilo each.
Wow. Yep.
And it carries 200 watt. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I'm playing right now, which is the other one there, Shindo Autograph.
Yes.
It's on a request 8 watt only from the valve.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so this is very different direction and different, you know.
Different
one very high
sound as well.
sensitive speaker.
Yes.
And request less power.
Yes.
With the valve.
Right.
And this one is required huge power.
Yes. So which ones do you find you listen to more?
Well, it's in my heart every time I go into that speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, sometimes if you work in, I just want everything when I have time, I come in.
Yep.
I just feel thinking I'm listening, I want this speaker, then I listen.
Right.
Otherwise, you know, yeah.
Is it a lot of work to switch them over?
No.
Or have you got it
really.
fairly down?
Yeah. Everything in, I had let's say three pair, minimum 3 pair of speaker cable.
Yeah.
To connect everything.
Yeah.
And power cord is enough to everything to connect.
Yeah.
And yeah, just rip one preamp, just connect, unplug and connect, and yeah.
Easy. And how about the JBLs?
JBL is, yeah, it is American sound.
Yep.
American sound. Very powerful.
Yes.
Very deep bass.
Right.
It's exactly like American character.
Right. So you would use that for certain music?
So certain music, pop and rock.
Right.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Jazz, okay. But very heavy.
Right.
To me, it's heavy. Okay. I still prefer the European sound, like the English sound.
Okay.
Much more musical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Understood.
There with artistic there. That one is just flat, you know.
It's
America, very American.
It's a big gloved fist.
Yeah, but I mean, this is let's say it's already been 30-40 years old already.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
1980s. This one is looks small, but it's 100. I think let's say about 100 kilo.
Right.
And this is about 90 kilos. This one, yeah.
Yeah. And you've got a Technics down here.
This is one of the history of the Technics SP10 Mark III.
Yes.
Which is totally different from the Mark II, which is all the radio station with you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
not many would come to Australia.
Right.
Because it's huge, big difference.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you're working on it at the moment? No.
No, I just it was there. Then I took off. Sometimes you like it's I just flip thing over.
Well, you've got the remarkable ability to listen to a lot of different turntables. So yeah. All right. And will we go through these valve amps?
Well, this is that's the amplifier I bought from Japan.
Yep.
It's totally Japan voted.
Tango.
Yeah. With all famous Tango output transformer, thing like that. Yeah, so you create about, let's say, 30 watt.
Right.
Approximately.
Yep.
with a big tube.
And you love that valve sound, the tube sound?
I still prefer the valve sound.
You do?
Yeah. It's much more surely analog.
Yep.
Sometimes you can hear hum. It's just like a vinyl. Can people say, let's go back to vinyl. Let people say, I don't want a record.
Yeah.
Because you cannot really remote control.
Right.
Because sometimes they hear the hum.
Yes.
And the pop sound. Yes. And the scratch of the vinyl. But let's say it's natural.
I like that.
You know. The CD, sometimes they put everything clean. And the dynamic with the sound, I prefer the analog. That's why back 20 years ago when I would play the CD. Yeah. And when I heard the vinyl, I get into it. Yeah. Even though pop's crack and bad condition, and think about it, that day I have a very bad record player anyway. Right. But I guess to just start to it, then learn from mistake and build up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this one?
This is
looks like a lab experiment.
This go Wavac.
Right.
833. It's very high-end from Japan as well.
Okay.
Yeah. The 833 tube is very big. It's huge. Yeah.
Massive.
And it claims 100 watt per channel.
Right.
Pure sound, valve.
Very nice. And the condo?
No, this is not real condo. I had this back this I have many years ago. It's this is let's say it's a copy. Okay. That day I haven't started much, and I really like the Ongaku, but the people asking me for 120,000 for that. Right. Because Australia did mark up price really very high. Yeah. So one of my friend Lucas Blackett from Black Art, he said he built one for me at a custom make. Oh wow! But the cost is huge, and the project it dragged me about 5 years to finish that, just because he haven't got time. Right. But he come up with the whole high quality part, thing like that.
Looks great.
And even though I don't use much now, right. But it's still just like piece of like build up and DIY, what we call. Yeah. It's very nice sound. Yeah. But I don't use it for so long, yeah. But I don't want to let it go.
I was going to say, you're not going to sell it, are you?
Yeah.
No. And this one?
Another Wavac.
Wavac, right.
That's the called EC300B tube. Yeah.
So we're listening to the Hellcrows at the moment.
No, we listen to this amplifier right now.
This is the one. Yeah. Okay.
And driving the Cinder Autograph, the big sound. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then this is the other.
That's it, monoblock.
The mono. Yeah. Got it.
And you turn on this one on in the cold day, I don't need to turn on the heater.
I can imagine it generates a stack of heat. Shed load.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I don't use much the solid state much, yeah.
Yeah. It's good, you've got so many options, you're very lucky. It's incredible.
Well, because just, the boss let me play, yeah.
You're so lucky. That's great. And now, my favourite bit, the turntables.
Yeah.
Gee, some really nice ones here.
Well, you want to start with the turntable?
Microseki, I suppose.
All right, this is Microseki. Used to be one of second top of the Microseki.
Yes.
And it's called ATX 5000 Mark II, which we got air bearing.
Yep.
And this is the bay, got the air as well.
How long have you had this one?
Probably 10 years. Oh, okay. I've worked second-hand from used from Japan. I don't think they come up in Australia. Right. And this is 100 volts. It's there.
Okay.
It's personal import. Yeah.
Yep.
Then he come up with the Ikeda under his name, and now still going on.
It's a gorgeous looking tone.
This is limited edition.
Yes.
Gold.
Nice.
And gold plate 18K, whatever there.
Yes.
And this is the top of the rank, the Ikeda cartridge. It's gold as well.
With its little plastic protector. Just so lazy fingers don't. Oh right, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a gorgeous looking thing. The Garage.
This is the Garage 301
transcription model, is that?
Transcription model.
Yes.
But it would, everything was rebuilt again. The platter is from Shindo, Japan.
Right.
The bearing is from Shindo, Japan as well. And
do you know the history of this one? Was it used in a radio station or?
Radio station.
Yeah.
The mod of came to Australia on radio station, not very private in this day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that the plane is suspension.
Oh yeah.
The idea would come from I think EMT.
Right.
From Germany that day, and that's when I bought. I got it from Shindo.
Yes.
When he got it black and thing, and I get everything in Go. And this is called Audiophile tone arm.
Yes.
309, the legend model.
Beautiful.
And that was special edition with gold color.
Nice.
And that it's it used to be Audiophile.
Right.
But Shindo it modify everything, rebuild everything.
Right.
So now it goes Shindo SPU-G cartridge. Yeah.
Okay. And then across here, another.
This is called Shindo 301 cartridge turntables, complete system.
Yes.
Because it got a tone arm and it Shindo cartridge.
Yes.
It used to be Audiophile Type 8,
right.
The short one.
Yes.
But then again, Shindo would rebuild everything. Yeah. And this is like Gara 301.
Yes.
But in Shindo system, he built everything.
Very pretty. And then the final one on the top rack.
All right, this is quite interesting. It goes final.
Yes.
And, in Japan, from my understanding, it's this final with the big brother of the microcircuit.
Okay.
From the class, even higher class than microcircuit.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is all original?
It's everything original.
Yeah.
And I, for this piece, 300 kilo.
Wow. Yeah.
And I personally import from Japan.
Okay.
And funny thing is the motor is not running by power.
Okay.
The motor running by power from the amplifier. You know how the speaker output?
Yes.
It come up to the motor and motor running.
Okay. So it's running out of here?
Running about for the...
Oh, down here behind
I have to use another amplifier to use, but I haven't used that one for so long.
Right.
So let's say when you turn on the power,
yes,
like music, you pump up the volume and get a motor running.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah. I don't know.
And this is actually the motor over here, sitting on the side.
The motor is yeah.
Yeah.
And
that tiny little string.
And that clamp, you can see it in about 3 kilo.
Right. So the obvious question is, which one's your favourite out of these 4?
My favourite still this one.
Right. The 301?
To me, it's 301 is copied by Shindo. Every review for everything. It's much more naturally.
Right.
Yeah. And this is another. It's called record cleaner.
Ah, now you've really gone to town here. Keith Monk's.
Keith Monk.
Right.
One of this is a bigger model.
Right.
I bought it from Canberra, ATC. Okay. One of the state library in Canberra.
Oh, right.
They clear out.
Yeah.
I mean, they run out. They don't use that analog anymore. So one of the guys bought that from auction.
Great.
And he, I don't think he's used it. And he a dealer. And he sold for me for good money. And I bought it. That used to be. But to clean the record, even though now you have a ultrasonic or whatever there,
yes,
you press then the record automatically clean. But it's nothing can clean record clean like this.
Right.
Maybe I'm so conservative, but have to it clean all the. Oh, sorry.
That's right.
It clean all the record.
Yes.
From the thread.
Right.
So actually, it gone to all the track.
Yes.
The thread.
Right.
Go to the track, and then you have the brush.
Okay.
It's automatic as well.
Yes.
And it suck all the liquid out.
Right.
It is one of very, very clean. Once again, you know, making
so have you had any records that you brought back just from the dead using this? Like you thought no chance?
Some of the record, it obviously it's a jet or that stuff, and it's okay. But some classical, when they punch a hole,
you can't do
anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. But then.
Beautiful. Very nice.
I like everything made from England, from Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And this one.
In Japan. Oh, that's another. The amplifier I used to like it. It made by from Audio Solid.
Okay.
It's called made by McLevinson. When he sold the McLevinson to other company, he make a cello. He come up with a brand called cello. It go very into industrial, professional amplifier. And then later on, he come up with a brand called retro music. But it last for maybe 5 or 10 years and finished. Yeah.